Each winter, Delhi becomes a haze-shrouded symbol of an unfolding environmental and public health crisis. The city's skies, once sharply blue over wide boulevards and the Yamuna's banks, now often glow a sickly orange or slate grey as particulate matter and other pollutants hang heavy in the air. On the worst days, readings of fine particulate matter and overall air quality index spike into the hazardous range, forcing schools to close, flights to be delayed and millions to change how they go about their daily lives. What causes Delhi's seasonal smog is a complicated mix of local and regional factors. Motor vehicles remain a dominant source of nitrogen oxides and soot, while industry, diesel generators, and dust from construction sites add to the burden. At the regional scale, emissions from neighboring states, especially the deliberate burning of crop stubble in Punjab and Haryana after harvest, push pollution into the capital when northwesterly winds transport smoke and aerosols. Celebratory fireworks during festivals, and the cooler, calmer winter atmosphere that traps pollutants close to the ground, all conspire to make the problem cyclical and intense. Recent analyses indicate that, even during peak farm fire periods, local sources still account for a large share of Delhi's pollution, underlining that solutions must be both local and regional. The human cost is immediate and measurable. Short-term exposure brings coughing, sore throats, headaches and eye irritation. Long-term exposure increases risks of chronic respiratory disease, reduced lung capacity and cardiovascular illness. Children and the elderly are particularly vulnerable, and studies have linked extended exposure to a range of developmental and chronic conditions. Public health advisories and a surge in mask sales are visible symptoms of a population learning to live with air that is often far from safe. Yet, when we talk about victims of Delhi's smog, we most often mean people. That narrow view misses a quieter and equally distressing reality. Animals, both domestic pets and the countless street-living creatures that share the city, are suffering too. Vets and animal welfare groups have reported rising cases of bronchitis, inflamed eyes, and respiratory distress in dogs, cats, and even birds. Strays have nowhere to take shelter, inhaling the same toxic cocktail as humans every day. Many pet owners describe their animals becoming lethargic, wheezing, or refusing to eat during the smoggiest weeks, while welfare organizations warn of long-term consequences for animal health and reproduction. In the midst of this health emergency, authorities have scrambled to deploy a series of short-term interventions. Water sprinkling vehicles have become a familiar sight across Delhi, attempting to weigh down dust and particulate matter on roads and construction sites. The government has even attempted cloud seeding operations, flying aircraft to disperse substances into moisture-bearing clouds in the hope of triggering artificial rain that might wash pollutants out of the lower atmosphere. And as the smog thickened further, officials mandated that offices, both public and private, operate with only half their workforce on site. The remaining 50% of employees were instructed to work from home, an emergency measure intended to reduce vehicular emissions from daily commuting. This season brought an unexpected complication from far beyond India's borders. A volcanic eruption in Ethiopia sent ash and sulfur-laden plumes high into the atmosphere, some of which drifted towards South Asia. While the ash is not expected to settle at low enough altitudes to directly influence ground-level air quality in Delhi, the plume caused a series of flight cancellations and diversions due to aviation safety concerns. It was an unsettling reminder that global atmospheric events can intersect with local crises, adding yet another layer of disruption to an already difficult season. Against this backdrop, the situation for animals becomes even more alarming. City birds, already stressed by habitat loss, struggle for visibility and clean air in thick smog. Outdoor dogs and cattle often display respiratory strain and eye irritation. Even indoor pets cannot fully escape poor air quality, pollutants seep into homes, and without air purifiers, animals suffer silently. Ecologists warn that chronic exposure can disrupt breeding patterns, reduce immune resilience and, over time, alter the behavior of entire species that inhabit Delhi's limited green spaces. All of this underscores the urgent need for long-term, structural change rather than episodic emergency measures. Cleaner transport systems, robust public transit, stringent industrial controls, green urban corridors and coordinated action across states are essential. But there must also be a more holistic understanding of who truly suffers during Delhi's pollution season. The coughing child, the elderly commuter struggling for breath, the wheezing pet curled up indoors, the panting stray dog lying on a dusty pavement, all of them are part of the same living fabric of the city. If Delhi is to breathe again, its recovery must extend to every being that calls it home.